Hey everybody, hope you all are having a great Monday. It's Scott of Create Your Great, and hopefully I'm at the airport. Hopefully the overheads are not going to be too disturbing, but I wanted to share something as I'm sitting here waiting to catch a flight to Phoenix. And I'm going out to Arizona this week for an event that I've partnered up with several other people to put on Wednesday night in Scottsdale, about how men and women and how all of us as coworkers and colleagues can understand each other better, and how that would help and affect our career. And I wanted to share a nugget and a note about expectations. One of my 2 or 3 biggest weak spots, blind spots, weak spots, something that I've known for a few years about myself that I really wanted to work on and want to continue to work on, is the creation of expectations in my head when I'm doing something or about to do something, and the effect that that has on me. So I wanted to share this brief story with you and give you a little bit of insight story around what it does to me, and hopefully this can benefit and help you a little bit too. And I'm going to give you a call to action as always at the end, but here we go, a little bit of a background. So I am doing this event, as I just mentioned, in Scottsdale, in which we're gonna bring people together. I have a panel and a guest speaker I'm gonna host, and I'm very excited. I actually have another coach. I have 2 other coaches who are attending to take part, as well as the panel consists of the CEO of Big Brother Big Sister of Arizona, the Director of Talent Management for Banner Health, which is the biggest hospital system in Arizona, and a gentleman who owns his own realty, Keller Williams Realty, in Phoenix. It's going to be a great panel, great people with a lot of amazing wisdom and insight on how we can better understand our internal biases and understand each other in the workplace. This is going to help men and women. It'll help us all grow in leadership capacity as well as in our careers. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm very, very excited for this event. And it's an idea that I came up with recently, and I caught myself. It's Monday the 26th. The event is on Wednesday. And starting early to middle of last week, I started to feel myself getting into that zone where I had a lot of expectations, or I was creating expectations for the event. And while it's great to envision, right, there's a fine line here. It's great to envision and visualize a successful thing or venture when you're creating your great, when you're doing something. I talked last week about not waiting to be picked, right? And we have to get out there and we have to make things happen. And it's great to visualize your goals, your objectives, and ultimately your success. But we have to be careful. We have to do it in a very mindful way so that we do not set ourselves up for disappointment. And that's the key message. And what I caught myself doing last week was I started to not just visualize. Like, I like to visualize events, especially when I'm taking part, if I'm giving a talk or doing a breakout or doing a workshop. I like to visualize it a little bit before it happens. But I was taking it further than that. I also started to visualize, how many people were going to be there, how well it was going to go with me as the host, with my guest speaker, with the panel. And I know it's going to go really well. But I started to visualize it to the point that I was creating these expectations in my head that if they don't play out that way, I might be setting myself up for disappointment. And I know this happens to me a lot or it had happened to me a lot, because it's one of the things when I went through a lot of transformational change in the last couple of years that I came to realize, as I said at the very top, is one of my 2 or 3 biggest weaknesses, or things that I need to work on, a characteristic of mine that I need to work on, is that I create expectations for myself. I get them like embedded in my head, in my heart, and then when they don't play out that way, I experience disappointment. And I don't want to do that anymore, and neither do you. Neither do you. And if you see this video about creating your great, I want you to think about, do you create expectations for yourself that sometimes set you up for disappointment? Okay, and think about the damage that could do. And sometimes, it's not that big a deal. We go to an event, we go on a date with somebody, we meet somebody for lunch, we have a business transaction or exchange. It doesn't quite play out the way we think. We're a little disappointed. It's not the end of the world. That's okay. But we have to be really careful, because sometimes it can be really damaging. And I caught myself late last week, and especially over the weekend, and my assistant Jillian could attest to this, because as I've been talking about the event, I've gotten a lot more intense, and I realized I was getting intense because I have this vision for exactly how it's going to play out. Does that make sense? I have this vision for exactly how it's going to play out, and in a way that's not healthy. I should visualize a successful event. I should visualize the people that I know are going to be there to work with me on giving a great event. I should not visualize things like how many people attend and register and show up. I should not visualize exactly how my hosting goes or when my opener. And I should not visualize an expectation that X number of people are going to walk away with, 3 or 4 great nuggets of learning. That's going to happen. I believe it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I know people are going to get tremendous value out of this event, but I took it too far. And I started to feel that feeling in my gut and in my chest and in my throat where I was setting myself up for expectations. So please, think about this story and this lesson, and I caught myself, and I usually was not good in prior years at catching myself because I'm an emotional, for those of you who know me relatively to very well, I'm a very emotional person. I'm sensitive, I'm emotional, I'm sometimes reactionary, and that is not a good combination when you set expectations for yourself and then experience a little disappointment because it shows. So think about the next time you're doing something, keep going out there and creating your great, but think about the expectations and the level of expectations you're creating. Visualize success, believe it, believe in yourself, make sure you're as prepared as possible. I'm prepared for Wednesday, but I'm going to let it flow and come naturally. I'm not going to overthink about, I need it to play out this way, or I need this number of people in this venue, and I need this number of satisfactory results. It's going to happen naturally. It's going to go great, and I'm not going to set myself. I'm just going to go and do and go in the flow, literally and figuratively, okay? So if you have any thoughts on expectations, if you have any thoughts on things that expectations can do to you in either a healthy or a harmful way, feel free to share, feel free to comment. And I want to ask you to walk away from this video, if you've stuck with me and watched this and listened to it, think about a time recently. Think about a time recently. It could have been something as simple as a date, making dinner, going somewhere, doing something at work, doing something with family, where you created an expectation about how something was supposed to play out in your head, and then it didn't quite happen that way, and you got really disappointed. So remember, oftentimes expectations lead to disappointment. And we want to be careful with that because we don't want it to negatively harm us or slow us down or prevent us from doing something in the future because when we did it the first time, it didn't work out as well. Okay? All right, so let me know how you feel and how you respond to this. Feel free to comment, and I will see you again really soon. I will be sure to check in from sunny Arizona and give you all an update on how things are going with, of course, a lesson and hopefully some value for you. Thanks for checking this out. I'll see you soon. Bye.